Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I thought we could talk about Across the Spider-Verse. Now, as many of you know, we're getting more and more news about the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The sequel, titled Across the Spider-Verse, will have a Part 1 and a Part 2. And although the Kingpin was the big baddie in the first movie, they've got some really interesting plans to fill those large shoes. Now, recently, we found out that the Spot will take the center stage as the next villain for Spider-Man. And I have to say, this is pretty exciting because he is really my favorite, what we would call a C-list villain. Now, one of the best parts about picking a character that so many people don't know about is the obscurity. That really does open the door and allow for some storytelling that's unexpected for Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. Now, recently, several members of the development team, including the director, sat down with the direct, and they talked a little bit about the villain, how cool it was choosing this particular bad guy. This is what he had to say. Pretty early on, we knew the Spot was going to be our main villain. Without an awesome villain who you sort of can understand with their through line, you really don't have a strong story for your main character. So he's an awesome sort of opposition to Miles. And his living ink really is just, I think we've all been saying, it's not just an effect. It's artistry come to life. It's something that can only really happen in animation. You can't imagine Spot as a dude in a sock suit in a live-action Spider-Man film. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So he's art come to life. He's the inkwell spilled on the page. It all goes back to sort of comic books and comic book art. Now, this was from director Joaquin dos Santos, and I really like his take on the Spot and the visual aspect of this and how it really does work well in animation. Now, the co-director Kemp Powers did expand a little bit on that, praising the unique visuals that the Spot brings to the table and teasing how he'll affect the film itself. This is what he had to say. That's not a costume. That's his skin. It's not a guy in a polka dot suit. That's actually his skin. So you know the arc of Dr. Orm's Spot is one that really complements, without giving away the story, the journey of Miles Morales in this film as well. It sounds like they have pretty big plans to use the Spot to kind of parallel Miles in the upcoming film. And I do love, once again, they're going with such an obscure villain. Now, we do know Jason Schwartzman will lend his voice to the character, and there's a massive cast associated with this that's A+. Not only is Shameik Moore returning as Miles Morales, but we also have Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099, Haley Steinfeld as Spider-Gwen, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, Issa Rae as Spider-Woman, Jorm Tacone as the Vulture, and Shea Wigman as Captain George Stacy. So this is really one talented cast. Now, the sad part about this, we got a long wait. The movie doesn't drop until June 2nd, 2023. Little less than a year from today. We'll probably be getting a lot more information, teasers, trailers, and clips for this movie as we wait for the final release. I'm sure Sony really wants this one to do well, and I am curious on how it fits into their bigger picture involving the multiverse and multiple characters and how they could possibly cross over with other Sony projects. Now remember, this film has a Part 1 and a Part 2, so we're getting a huge story. So I do believe it's something to be really excited for. So we're going to continue to cover it pretty heavy, so if you're a fan of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or at least interested, it's a good time to hit that like and subscribe button. And until we get more news, I gotta know what you guys think. How do you feel about the Spot being the main villain for the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse? And are you familiar with this character from the comics? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.